Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to yet again another video that's kind of different for me. Today we're going to be doing NFL predictions for the week 1 games, starting with the game today, the Buffalo Bills versus the LA Rams. So this is going to be a series that I'm just going to do with my friend Belac Smemes. I have his channel linked down below, but yeah, we're just going to go through week by week and pick the games based on who we think is going to win each matchup. So we're going to have some differences, but we're just going to discuss the games and the outcomes that we predict. So if you guys enjoy this type of video, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Helps out a ton. And like I said, go check out his channel. Support him as well. And yeah, we plan on doing these weekly, every either Wednesday or Thursday, just before the next week starts. So we'll have the latest, freshest takes on each game. So yeah, thank you all for watching. And let's go ahead and dive on in. Alright, so here we are at the schedule with all of our games. Left to right, we got AFC, then the cross conference, and then NFC. So yeah, I guess let's not waste any time and just dive on into the first one. So we got the Colts at the Texans. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems like kind of an easy one right off the bat.
Easily a Texans dominant. No, I'm just kidding. I think the Colts pretty easily win this
Yeah.
one. I'm excited to see what Matt Ryan can do in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I mean, even without Matt Ryan, you got Jonathan Taylor.
They've got an okay running back in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They might be able to do a little bit of business there.
And not only that, I don't know what the Texans really have. Like Davis Mills could be good because he was fairly good last year, kind of underrated. Yeah. But
I think Davis Mills will be good. Texans aren't a good team though, so I just don't see them taking it. And maybe they could surprise us and keep it close, but I just feel like a combination of the Colts defense and then their offense with Jonathan Taylor, and who knows how good the passing game is going to be. I just think the Colts probably dominate this game. It'd probably be easy win.
Yeah, the Texans just look one of those teams, like individually you look at player stats and you're like, oh, Brandon Cooks was really good, or Davis Mills was really good, but then at the end it's like, aside from like 3 or 4 maybe blowout losses or something, everything else is like close games that you're like, oh, they could easily had a winning record or something. But
yeah, I think the Texans might surprise a few people this year, not to the playoffs, but with a little bit more than they're expected to. But they're definitely going to lose this first game.
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, I'm kind of leaning the same way in the second game too. I don't think the Steelers are going to be that good this year.
Really? I don't think actually. I think that they'll be better than people are expecting, but unfortunately, I think Mike Tomlin is about to lose his like never having a losing season prestige. I think they'll be close.
I'm not saying they're going to be the best or the worst team in the NFL, but I don't think they're coming to the playoffs or anything.
Yeah, if they are, then
maybe Mitch Trubisky does really, really well, but
yeah, they're kind of like. They're kind of like the same thing with them and like the Falcons and stuff. It's like they may be close, like or have a lot of close games that they lose, and things could be a lot different if they just come on top. But yeah, I don't know. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10 or 11 games. I wouldn't be like horribly shocked, but I'm expecting more like 7 or 8.
I just think, especially with this week 1 matchup, the Bengals, everybody's healthy. You've got Jamar Chase coming back, T. Higgins, all those guys with Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon. I think Bengals,
it's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't know if the Bengals are going to repeat going back to the Super Bowl this year, but they're still going to be a really good team, and the Steelers just don't match up that good, in my opinion, to the Bengals.
Now, the next one, I'm thinking Joe Flacco. Never mind. I think the Ravens are easily going to...
Ravens are going to win this one, but I'm not as big on the Ravens this year. I have Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team, but I don't know how many games they're going to win.
I think the Ravens, because nobody's talking about them, I'm thinking they're going to win their division.
Yeah, they'll definitely make the playoffs, but much farther than that, I'm not sure.
I just think
it's pretty easy for them.
Yeah.
The Jets don't really stand a chance. Even if Zach Wilson's there, I'm not exactly sure they would stand a chance.
To be honest, at this point, Joe Flacco's look better for the Jets than Zach Wilson has.
Well, you've got to remember Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback. So,
yeah.
He took the Ravens to the Super Bowl there.
Yeah, but so far we've we've agreed on all these so far, right?
Yeah, pretty much all of them have been pretty obvious. This one could get a little divisive though.
Yeah, I
Patriots Dolphins.
I
A
I'm
lot
gonna
of hate over the Patriots this offseason.
yeah. I think they get too much hate, but week one, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
It's I'm leaning towards the Dolphins too. It's going to be really interesting to see how good this offense can be. You know, Tyreek Hill's coming in. A lot of people hate Tua. I don't think he's as bad as they say he is,
Yeah,
but I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I think he might be a little bit of a bust from where he was drafted at, but I still think he's a really good quarterback.
yeah. I
And
think I with a couple of these teams where they've got like new receivers or something, or they've lost a
yeah,
receiver. I could see it being they lose or struggle either early in the game or through the game as a whole, but it's not necessarily indicative of how the whole season's going to go.
yeah, I
But
think the Patriots still have a decent season, but I want to say the Dolphins offense is going to get it together kind of early against this defense because they've
yeah,
given up a lot of points in a lot of games.
yeah, the
And
Patriots to me are kind of like how I see the Steelers. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they made it, but I also feel like they'd be just outside of it, especially with how much firepower the AFC
I
has.
mean, we could be surprised though. They could have Mac Jones take another leap. I mean, last year he was arguably the best quarterback out of that draft.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just
so
I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith when your offensive play callers are Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, but
yeah,
I don't know.
right. And next up we have the Raiders and the Chargers. Devontae Adams, former Packer, finally playing his first regular season game as a Raider.
This might be the toughest game here because I honestly would not be surprised if every team in this division made the playoffs. I doubt it'll happen just because of
Yeah.
how much things would have to fall into place, but I
I
don't know.
just don't. I have trouble siding as much as I like Justin Herbert, as good as the Chargers have been, or as talented as their team is. I have trouble choosing them to win games just because it seems like they always find a way to lose.
Yeah,
It seems like no matter they could be up by 30 and they find a way to lose games.
yeah,
As much as I hate to say it,
and this was a matchup that knocked the Chargers out of the playoffs last year, wasn't it?
yeah. After that
the
dumb call on fourth down or whatever,
they're just gonna
that was
kneel
bad.
down and let the clock run out, and they call the timeout. But no,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. I think like honestly, I think every team in this division is gonna split. So I think they're gonna. I mean, right now, if we get to that matchup later in the season, I don't know if one of the teams is terrible.
I'm gonna lean towards the Raiders on this one. I think Devontae Adams makes a big difference there, and obviously Derek Carr's a really good quarterback, but
Yeah.
not Hall of Fame quarterback.
What do you
Um,
mean?
I'm gonna lean towards the Raiders. I think Devontae Adams really improves their offense, and they'll be a good team this year. But I mean, I can completely go with the Chargers too. It's gonna be a close one there.
Yeah. So that's our
I don't
first
think.
difference,
Yeah,
right?
that's the first different choice there.
Maybe the second. I don't know with this one here. Tomorrow's game actually, or today, whenever people are
Yeah,
watching
a
this.
few
But
hours from now, when you watch this, I'll be posting this on Thursday morning. So it's gonna be a Thursday night game.
yeah,
Rams and the Bills,
yeah,
the
I'm
defending champions,
and the
against
favorites for
arguably
this
the
year.
best quarterback right now in the NFL,
Yeah,
and Josh Allen.
I am gonna go with the Bills myself. I don't know
I
about
kind of
you.
think I'm kind of agreeing with you. I feel like the Rams might have a little bit of a hangover from the Super Bowl. They're going to be a really good team, and I just think it might take a few weeks for them to get back to that groove from last year.
Yeah, hopefully Matthew
Losing
Stafford is
Odell,
no longer intoxicated after.
yeah, I think losing Odell is a little bit of a bigger hit than most people think it would be, because he did play really well for them late in the season there and in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
but
But
they did add Allen Robinson too,
yeah,
which
but
I don't
who
think
knows
he.
what version of Allen Robinson they're gonna
Yeah,
get.
people act like Allen Robinson is an improvement over Odell. I don't see that, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Allen
enough of a
Robinson
drop
can
off.
easily be a second or third best receiver on your roster, but you just don't know what you're going to get with him. He can be very inconsistent when it comes to the receiving.
Yeah, and just I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about how this game is going to be very offensive and it's going to be like the best, like most explosive season opener we've ever gotten. But I honestly would not be surprised if it is like that Jaguars Bills game last year, and the final score is like 9-6 or something.
Yeah, the only problem I see with the Bills, and that's been an issue of theirs the last few years, and you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. Have they addressed the running back position? Because I feel like last year that was one of their biggest weaknesses with who was it? Zach Moss was their
Yeah,
starter,
yeah, because they
and
got
they
Devin
just didn't. They
Singletary
just
back,
yeah, they
and
brought
he's
him
the
back.
starter. But they drafted James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother,
Oh, okay.
which people were thinking. I mean, I hope he does. That he's on my fantasy team, but
I think the Bills are a really good team, but that's what kind of held them back last year. Their lack of, they're really one dimensional.
yeah, really, their running game was Josh Allen,
Yeah.
and occasionally
So
Devin Singletary.
I think they take this one. It's probably going to be close, but
Yeah,
I think they win it in the end. And now we got an interesting matchup: the Jaguars versus the Commanders.
very difficult. I'm going with the
Right?
Commanders.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Commanders too.
I,
I think the Jaguars will win a few games, but I think they're still going to be a bad team.
yeah, I'm thinking like they cap at like 6, maybe 7 wins
Yeah,
if they
I was
improve that
saying
much. But
5 to 6
yeah,
wins. It really all depends on how T Law ends up playing.
yeah, but I mean the Commanders, like, I don't get the Carson Wentz hate because yeah, he had some bad plays, but when you have almost 30 touchdowns and under 10 picks, I mean I feel like
Yeah,
if you're getting hated on like you're a bottom 5 quarterback, that's too much hate. Like no matter how good your running game is, you don't throw for almost 30 touchdowns and be terrible.
it's
So,
definitely not a recipe for failure.
like if he had like 30 touchdowns and like 15 picks, I mean that would be one thing, but he had 7 last
Yeah,
year, so
I think Carson Wentz is underrated. He kind
yeah,
of reminds me. Obviously, his peak was a lot higher, but he kind of reminds me of Mitch Trubisky, which is how much unwarranted hate he gets.
yeah,
Like just playing at least a little bit above average, and they both. I mean, obviously Carson Wentz was at an MVP level before he got hurt a few years ago, but the hate level isn't really warranted.
yeah. So yeah, I like the Commanders. I feel like they could, like, I mean they could surprise people and like win the division. I would not think that's
Yeah,
too
they've
insane
got
to
a good
think.
defense over there. I feel like
Yeah,
with Chase Young too.
which I do think he is injured. I think he may miss like,
Oh, is he injured right now?
I believe so. I'm thinking he might miss like, I think it may be the first 4 weeks he's out.
Let's see how long he's out for.
But like I see a lot of people saying they're going to have like 3-4 wins on the season, and I do not get that whatsoever. Like 7 or
Baker
8.
is his already injured ACL.
So like I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders get 8-9 wins on the season, but
Yeah,
like
I
it's
just
like
think
if
they're
they
better
got,
than the Jaguars.
yeah, definitely. And then we have
A
another
very
good old,
divisive one here.
another very good rival or revenge game. We got the Browns taking on the Panthers with Baker Mayfield, and Jacoby
So,
Brissett is starting for the
yeah, I was gonna
Browns.
say Deshaun's out.
Yep.
I
I
don't know. I'm still a little torn though.
I'm going with the Panthers. I mean,
I knew you were gonna go with the
call me
Panthers.
biased.
I knew you were gonna go with the Panthers as soon as I saw it, and I just don't know. I mean, the Browns have a really good team. Like they've got talent at a lot of good positions,
yeah,
but I just don't know how Jacoby Brissett's gonna play. And I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a little bit better than people give him credit for.
yeah,
But I think maybe Baker Mayfield comes out and it's a revenge game. He's got to do good. If he does bad, that's not going to be a good look on him.
yeah. And
Okay.
like for all the hate Baker Mayfield can get, which I mean, he's my favorite quarterback and my favorite player in the NFL. But for all the hate he gets, like when he has a chip on his shoulder and he's like, well, I mean, unless he's hurt like it was last year, but like the game, it was the year before when they made the playoffs. Everybody was talking about how terrible he was, and he like started the game against the Bengals bad. He was like 0 of 3 with a pick or something. Everyone was talking about how he was terrible, and then he completed like 25 straight passes. His only incompletion was a spike, and he had like 5 touchdowns or something. So I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I definitely think.
I think it'll be close. Than like I don't think they're going to blow him out, but they might win by a few touchdowns.
Yeah, that's like no matter what, like the Browns are still going to be in games because of nothing more than their defense and Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
But
they've got talent at the positions that matter. Really.
yeah. But
And
I still go with the Panthers though.
yeah, that's where I went with them. Next up, pretty high powered matchup here in the Chiefs and the Cardinals. I don't know. How are the Chiefs going to be this year?
I think they're probably not going to be that much different, honestly. They're not going to have Tyreek.
As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, they lost Mahomes, or no, they lost Tyreek Hill.
Mahomes has been traded to Green Bay.
Yeah, yeah. But they lost Tyreek, and they lost Demarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle, but they just replaced them with.
They got Juju.
They got him. They got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They drafted Sky Moore, and then they got the running back. What's his name? Isaiah Pacheco, something like that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Which he has the same number as Tyreek, which is weird to see.
Yeah. I'm a big Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan. I think he's a good running back.
And you can't forget Travis Kelce is still there.
Yeah.
So I still think the Chiefs are going to be good. Yeah. And the Cardinals, they're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins for the first couple weeks, but they got Marquise Brown. But so I think
didn't they lose Christian Kirk?
Yeah, they lost him too. I think they've got Marquise Brown, AJ Green. They still have Rondale Moore, which it's his second year.
Cardinals are going to be good, but I just think Patrick Mahomes is going to overpower.
I think the Cardinals are going to kind of be the reverse of how they were last year. They're probably going to start out a little shaky, but then once D-Hop comes back, they'll like find their rhythm and probably barely get into the playoffs. Or I don't know. I don't say barely because there's not as much of a push in the NFC.
It'll be a playoff, but playoff team. But I think they lose this game.
Yeah, same.
And next up, you've got your favorite team, the Giants, in a lopsided matchup.
I know it hates me to do it, but
I
Titans.
To say it, but I'm taking the Titans on this one. I don't think you have much discussion around that.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry comes back healthy. If he does, then
unless Brian Dable is able to turn Daniel Jones into Josh Allen 2.0, I don't know. I mean, even if Daniel Jones plays at like his rookie season level, and if like. But it would be everything would have to fall together. The defense would have to be top notch. Saquon would have to play like he was as a rookie.
Saquon has to get back to Saquon.
You'd have to have.
Few years have not been it.
Yeah, you'd have to have a bunch of super glue ready for our receivers.
Evan Ingram.
No, he's on the Jaguars now. Actually,
he isn't there anymore. Y'all's Pro Bowl tight end. Y'all let him walk.
Yeah, unfortunately. But no,
that's a pretty easy one, man.
Yeah, like. I don't know. I'd love to be surprised, but it's one of those. I'll see it, or I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep. And next up, probably, I would say one of the more interesting matchups. The Seahawks are going to be terrible, and it's a pretty easy one to choose in my
especially
opinion.
Like even with Drew Lock, I feel like there may be a little bit more, but with Geno Smith starting, I don't think there's any shot either way that the Seahawks would win.
They'll win a few games. I think the Seahawks are bad, and this one just interests me because first game as a Bronco, Russell Wilson has to go back to Seattle.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy. All the headlines coming out if they did lose. But
imagine the Seahawks come out. Geno Smith throws like 6 touchdowns and they whoop them or something.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, but I just don't see the Seahawks doing. I honestly. If it's not a blowout, will probably. I don't know. I do think this one probably will be a fairly lopsided win.
It could very easily be a blowout by halftime.
Yeah.
It depends. Geno Smith, if he plays like he did his first few years in the NFL, then the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, cause Geno, he didn't really play that bad last year when you look at his stats, but he just kind of seems like
he might start punching his teammates.
It's just Geno's kind of like yeah, like I was gonna say Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater I think is a whole level or two above him even.
Yeah,
so.
I wouldn't put them in the same category. Yeah. And we already know what I'm choosing in this next matchup. I'll never pick the Bears to win an NFL game. So I'm going 49ers. I'll let you do your sport.
Yeah, I would pick the Bears to win some games, but that's like one game against the Lions and the Jags and the Texans, but that's about it.
Justin Fields and Trey Lance both getting their first, start of the season starts.
Yeah, because
it's gonna be fun to watch.
unless Jimmy G comes out as the starter.
Because last year, I think Andy Dalton came out first, and
Yes,
Justin Fields replaced him.
yeah, cause yeah, that's how it was. And
So,
of course, Jimmy G was the 49ers starter last
I
year.
mean, if it was up to me, the Bears would lose every single game the rest of their franchise, existence. But
You sound like a
um,
Packers fan.
yeah, I know. I would never be a Packers fan. They're lame. They can't even win in the playoffs. I mean, why would I be a fan of that team?
But
Let me
yeah, I
just
mean,
go take care of my COVID toe.
but yeah, I don't think I see a lot of people talking like the 49ers are gonna be like have the best record in the NFL, which like I've seen people saying they're gonna be like 13-4. I don't see that. Like I'm thinking more 9-8, 10-7. But I
Yeah, I'm
still
thinking
think
that I think if Trey Lance is at least a competent quarterback, Debo can help out with that. They've got a decent running back group, and the defense is one of the better ones, in
yeah,
my
and
opinion. So
George Kittle
I
and
think they,
Ayuk.
I think they can very easily be carried. Or Trey Lance, even if he's not great, I think he can very easily be carried to a solid season.
Yeah,
So if he comes out really good, then the 49ers could have a great season. I don't see it being that good, but like you said,
like
9, 10 wins,
if
something
he's
like
like
that.
Patrick Mahomes his second year, then yeah,
Yeah.
I could see him definitely winning the division. But
Oh yeah.
I still see them as second or third below the Rams and the Cardinals. So
Yeah. That's
then
pretty much how I see it.
we got the Eagles and the Lions. I think the Lions are going to shock some people. Like I don't know. I've seen people say they'll be a playoff team. I don't really see that, but
No,
I do think
I don't like
they'll be much improved from last year. But that's not saying
definitely better
much.
than the
Yeah,
Bears.
that's not saying much
Yeah,
though. Whenever what did the Lions start last year? 0-10-1 or something like that.
yeah.
But I don't know. I
Um,
could see him pushing maybe 7 wins. But
Shockingly, I'm a big believer in Jared Goff. I hope he gets a chance. Once
yeah,
this team can build something around him, I hope he gets a chance to be their quarterback. I really hope they don't just replace him.
it would be one of
Um,
those they build a team and then they draft Bryce Young.
yeah, pretty much that's probably what it's going to be. And then on the Eagles side, you've got Jalen Hurts, greatest quarterback to ever touch a football, apparently. Supposed to
that
be the best fantasy player in fantasy football history this year.
yeah, I don't know. People are building him up to be like Lamar his MVP season. I don't think he'll be that good. I think he'll be better than
I mean,
he.
he pretty much has to be better because he's gotten experience. He's had the whole season to start,
Yeah,
so he's gonna be more. I wouldn't say he's gonna be a couple levels higher. I think he's just gonna be more refined and a better overall quarterback.
yeah. I think he'll be kind of like, but like Lamar hit the year after his MVP season, like
Yeah.
25, 26 touchdowns and like 10 or 11 picks. Like he'll be good, but he won't be like top 10 level. But I think the Eagles are still going to be good. I'm picking them to win this game. I think.
With that in mind, I am picking the Lions.
Really?
I'm calling the Lions shock the world in week 1, and then they lose like 9 straight after. Remember, was that the Jaguars a few years that did that? Or a few years
Yeah,
ago that
they beat the Colts
yeah,
and
it
was it
was.
like Gardner Minshew said we still have 15 more games to go and they went 1-15.
Yeah. I think that the Lions could do something similar to
Yeah.
that. Probably not 1-15, but I'm gonna pick them to take this one
Yeah,
in week 1.
I got you. I could see that too, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Then we
So
got
next up,
the New Orleans
yeah,
Saints versus the Falcons.
they eat W's over there.
Yeah, which I
So
think they're gonna be doing after this game. To be honest,
did the Falcons announce who's their starting quarterback? Is it Mariota or
yeah,
is it Ritter?
it's Mariota.
Mariota.
I which I mean,
He's a
after I
good
pick the
quarterback.
Saints, part of me wants to pick the Falcons. I don't know. This is a tough
I
one.
just struggle to think where all the passing yards are going to go to for the Falcons.
I mean, they got Kyle
They've got,
Pitts, they got Drake London and Brian Edwards, but
I mean, Brian Edwards, he hasn't really proven
yeah.
himself yet, as much as I would like him to as a Gamecock fan.
But don't forget
I
they
just
have
need to,
Demir Bird.
yeah, I think losing Calvin Ridley might be a bigger hit.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a huge hit to their offense, even if he wasn't as involved last year.
Yeah, like my biggest thing, I think the Falcons are gonna be another team like, who was it we're talking about? Geez, what is it? like the Steelers or somebody, they're going to lose a lot of close games. Like, because I could see Mariota being good.
Yeah,
And
he's definitely. I mean, he won a Heisman. He's a good quarterback.
yeah,
It's,
but
it's
I'm
just
just going to pick the Saints to win
also
this
at the
one.
same time, there's no way Cordero Patterson's as good as he was last year.
Yeah, his
So
breakout
that's
year
going
at
to
the
be a
ripe
big
age
hit.
of 31.
Yeah, he's been a return man his entire career, and now he wants to be a receiver again and running back again.
I mean,
And
hey.
I don't know who I'm gonna select in this next game. You know, this is a really tough one for me. I have no dog in this fight, so I'm just gonna
Well,
go out on a limb and do Georgia over here, the big G. That's what it stands for, I believe. No, I'm
you
just
sure
kidding.
about that?
I'm going with the Packers.
All right, I'm going to pick opposite because I think because every year it seems like the Vikings and Packers do split.
Every year the Vikings play really, really strong against us. Their defense, you know, they turn it up, and it is week 1, so everybody's well rested. They're all going to be prepared.
Yeah. The biggest thing that
But
makes me pick them, like if this was reversed and it was at Green Bay, I would probably
yeah,
pick the Packers.
I can
But
see that.
because it's at
I just,
home, I think.
I'm
Go ahead.
I just think, you know, last year Aaron, he was trolling us in week 1. I think this year he's going to come out and do pretty good in week 1. And the biggest thing, obviously, that is around the Packers and around this game and every game going forward is how our receiving core does. If they end up being really bad, I probably would flip my prediction to the Vikings.
Yeah,
But
that's the
Aaron's
biggest
got to throw
thing.
the ball somewhere. So
That's the biggest thing. I'm thinking it's going to take a bit of time. They were the team I was thinking of earlier. It's going to take some time to build chemistry with the receivers, and I don't know. Like I don't think it's going to take that long because I mean it's Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, I think the Vikings are just going to come in. I think the Vikings are going to surprise people this year and have double-digit wins. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they'll be second, but
I think it depends on what happens to Dalvin Cook too.
yeah, which
He can stay healthy. They can easily win double-digit games.
the biggest thing I think is their new coach is making it a pass-heavy offense, which a pass-heavy offense and Justin Jefferson has already had the best start to any receiver's career, I'm pretty sure.
I guess if they make it a pass-heavy offense, I mean, I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. We'll just have to see how he performs in a really, really high-volume pass offense.
Yeah, which that's why I think, and he's got a coach now who actually likes him. Kirk Cousins does, because like if you watch any press conference with I can't remember his name.
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah,
Was
Mike Zimmer. Like he always would refer to him just as Cousins. He wouldn't call him Kurt. He wouldn't call him. He'd just say, "Yes, I think Cousins played better than he has previously." And it's like, bro, this is your quarterback who's got 30 touchdowns. What are you talking about?
I just can't choose against the Packers. I think our defense is going to be really good this year.
Yeah.
I could easily say the Vikings would win this one just because they always play. I mean, pretty much every division game, I feel like, you know, a rivalry game like this, they're going to play really tough.
Yeah.
The Bears, even when the Bears are bad, they play tough against us. So do the Lions. The Lions always give us a run for our money.
Yeah.
So it could go either way.
Yeah.
And
then we have our last game.
On
Very.
as much as I hate the Cowboys, I'm kind of thinking of going with them on this one.
As much as I hate the Cowboys, I'm picking the Buccaneers.
I mean, you know, you gotta think about it. Tom Brady, you know, he's 45 years old, however old he is. You know, he's having issues in his life right now. He's not completely focused on football. You know, he's gonna be looking downfield and he's gonna see visions of his wife walking down the sideline. He's gonna just drop the ball. So,
and that's when they put in Blaine Gabbert and he throws 5 touchdowns.
No. That's when they put in Kyle Trask and takes him for the starting job, leads him to the Super Bowl.
That's when Julio Jones comes in at quarterback.
Yeah, I pick the Cowboys just because they're always really good in the regular season. Honestly, the Cowboys very easily every year have a Super Bowl caliber team. They just never make it for whatever reason. Their offense is always really good, and their defense has been pretty decent the last few years.
That's the biggest thing with the Cowboys right now. Like a couple weeks into the season, I think it'll be different. But right now, like a lot of their receivers are banged up because they got CeeDee Lamb, but aside from him, Michael Gallup is out. James Washington, they traded for him. He's out. I think their next receiver is Jalen Tolbert, a rookie.
We'll have to see how the whole Elliott and Pollard back group
Yeah,
goes. That should be interesting to
which
see. I think they should lean on Pollard a lot more than Elliott, but that's
which
just my opinion.
isn't Tony Pollard? Isn't he more of a receiving back too?
Yeah, he does. He is pretty
Because
decent at that.
I could see them using him more as a receiver
Yeah, they
until
definitely be
guys get
better off.
healthy.
They'll definitely be better off running him in like a similar role to Aaron Jones for the
Yeah,
Packers because he's been one of our better receivers the last few years.
yeah, but no, my biggest thing. I'm a Giants fan. I can't pick the Cowboys.
Yeah, I
But
hate the Cowboys too, but I just feel like they're. I don't know how good the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are going to be good, but they're one of those teams that you just feel like every year, Tom Brady's going to fall off this year, and then they can go to the Super Bowl. You just feel
yeah,
that.
that's why I don't think they're gonna fall off that much.
Well, they have a good defense. That's the good thing that's going
Yeah,
for them. They've got a really good receiving core. They've got a good defense.
I think
So,
this will be a close game, but I just think the Buccaneers are gonna
which
come out on top.
I didn't they play last year early in the
Yeah,
season? And it was a really close game.
it was the first game. It was the Thursday night game
Yeah,
last year.
it wasn't like a game-winning field goal or something. It was
I
something
think so.
really close. I remember. The Cowboys came back late in the game and they lost by
Yeah,
a point or extra point or something. I don't know, but
it,
that
it's
finishes
better
it off.
than losing on a quarterback run up the middle with 10
Yeah,
seconds left.
that's true. And that will conclude our week 1 predictions. I'm pretty happy with mine.
Yeah, I
We
think.
had a
Let me
few
see.
games there that we disagreed with.
We differed on. What was it? You chose the Raiders. Chose the Raiders, the Lions, the Packers, and the Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
four differences. So
Which all of my subscribers out there, this guy's a Giants fan, so he doesn't really know anything about football.
oh wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty fine with my predictions. I'm no expert or anything, but I feel like they're pretty evenly or unbiased as far as everything except for the Bears game goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bears could be playing the last year's or the 0-16 Browns from a few years ago, and I still would pick the Browns.
Oh my god. Oh, Deshaun
Kaiser
Kaiser.
take us to the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, that's. I'll never pick the Browns or the Bears, not the Browns.
As I say, man, you must really hate Jacoby Brissett. But yeah. So I guess we're gonna be doing these every. I don't know, either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, whichever days we're not, or I'm off of, with schoolwork and work, I think it'd be either Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, or Thursday morning, most likely at the latest, in my opinion. That would be the easiest schedule.
Yeah, just so we can get it after the Monday game, but before the Thursday game. So
yeah, for sure. So thank you, everybody. I'll do a little bit of an outro. If you do enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to both of our channels. I'll have the link down in my description to his channel, and I'm sure he'll do the same for my channel.
Yep.
Turn post notifications on so you never miss a video. This series, as we said, is going to be a weekly thing. I'm sure we'll talk about other NFL stuff in these videos too as they go along. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios, everybody.
See ya.